Good morning, everyone. For today's presentation, I have a verse from the 6th chapter of the Gita. The 6th chapter of the Gita is called Dhyana Yoga. It's about meditation. Gita teaches us that yoga is just not an external doing, but it's about the internal being. It's the state of mind issue. Gita recommends that we continue to participate in this world, do what we are supposed to be doing, be active, yet at the same time be reflective. We need to practice introspection. All this through meditation. Meditation is like the gateway to connect to our real selves. To be able to tap into the peace, the joy, the bliss that we already have inside. And Krishna explains extensively about how to go about meditation and how to develop this mental eye so that we can witness and experience the divinity that we have within ourselves, to begin with within ourselves and then be able to experience the divinity in all others and eventually in the whole universe. The difference between prayer and meditation is, prayer is more like talking to the divine, asking for help, favors, strength, knowledge, wisdom, expressing our gratitude for all the blessings we have in our lives. Whereas meditation is more like listening to the divine that we have within ourselves. Is like connecting to that silence, the stillness we have within ourselves. And Krishna explains extensively about how to go about meditation. And he explains in many verses and goes up to verse 32. And that's what I'm covering today. Verse 32 in the 6th chapter. Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati yorjuna sukham va yadi va dukham sa yogi paramo mataha. Arjuna, Krishna says, he is the best yogi who identifies himself with others. He sees the same spirit in all beings and he feels their pain, their pleasure as if it were his own. That person, Krishna says, has attained the highest state of being, highest state of spirituality, and that is the real yogi, that is the real Gnani, who's able to practice Advaita. Advaita is, there is no duality. There is only one spirit living in all of us. We all have the same core. The scriptures describe this very nicely in multiple examples. When we look at various pieces of jewelry, be it bangles, bracelets, earrings, necklace, the core is the same. It's the gold. They may look different, they may serve different purposes, but the core is the same. When we look at various types of pots, all the pots have the same clay within them. There may be different types of pots, big, small, long, short, but the core is the same. Many waves are there in the sea. They look different, but the essence is the same. It's the sea. When we look at our core, we are nothing but atoms and subatomic particles, all about 16 billion years old, from the stardust. So we are all made up of the same type of stuff, externally and in the core also. The scriptures again describe this very nicely about the world view we hold. One is called external view, that is called karma drishti. The other one is called internal view, that's called atma drishti. Karma drishti is, most of us in our ignorance, we are carried away by the manifested world. We are carried away by the names and places, and we get entangled in this manifested world which we experience through our mind and our 5 senses. The mind is called the 6th sense. Whereas a yogi who has experienced the ultimate reality has Atma Drishti. He is not worried about the external manifestation because he realizes or she realizes the core is the same. We are all of the same energy, material. This concept about the core being the same is mentioned several times in the Gita. In the 6th chapter, Krishna says, 9th verse, Suhrun mitra rudasena madhyastha dveshya bandhushu sadhushvakicha papeshu samabuddhir vishishyate. He who has the same mind, be able to see have the Atma Drishti, he is the same towards anybody, be it a benefactor, a friend, an enemy, a mere acquaintance, an arbitrator, a hateful person, a good person, a sinner. Doesn't matter whom he is dealing with. He sees the same essence, irrespective of the appearance and behavior of any person. He sees the same essence existing in all of us. In the 5th chapter, Krishna says, 18th verse, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shunichaiva Shvapakecha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Again, the wise person, the yogi, sees the same spirit, whether he is talking to a very learned scholar or the lowest of the lowest, or for that matter, any animal kingdom, any creation, be it a cow, an elephant, a dog, doesn't matter. He sees the same spirit everywhere. When a person has this type of view, Atma Drishti, Krishna says in the 6th chapter 30, Yomam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasya aham na pranashyami sachamena pranashyati. When a person is living with this awareness, with this Atma Drishti, Krishna says, when he is able to see me everywhere and he sees everything in me, I'm not lost to him and he's not lost to me because he's always with me. He is aware that there is divinity everywhere. This person realizes there is no I, there is no you, there is no other, it's all the same. Only space is separating us, and space is a very interesting concept. We are in the space and the space is within us. Same way, the spirit we have within us is within us, but it's also pervading us everywhere. There is no place that the spirit is not, the Parabrahman is not. So when one lives with this awareness, if one is able to make out that if I hurt others, I'm hurting myself. Does that make sense to you? Because there's no difference when you go deep into the reality. So then the ethical principle comes into place. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Okay? This forms the basis of dharma, the righteous way of living according to our scriptures. This forms the basis of compassion. This forms the basis of empathy, basis of ahimsa and non-violence. When we are able to live with this awareness, we would not be able to treat others like we do not want to be treated. We would be able to go with an attitude of kindness. And Krishna says that's one of the hallmarks of a bhakta. Bhakta may be doing worship and all, but that's not the most important thing. Krishna says what's going on inside, the attitude you carry inside is more important. Are you approaching people with friendship, with friendliness, with kindness, with compassion? Kindness is so important because this is the language that the blind can see and the deaf can hear. Kindness is something that can be felt by anybody. So the yogi who's able to practice this, he goes even beyond. Krishna says in the 5th chapter and in the 12th chapter, Sarva Bhuta Hite Rataha. The yogi rejoices not only that he is Nirvairaha Sarva Bhuteshu, he doesn't have enmity to anybody, he is kind to everybody and he enjoys, he revels in others' well-being. So one is not just looking after for oneself, but is happy about others' well-being. This person is able to put himself or herself in others' shoes. So this is how an ideal yogi would be. But what about us? Us who are in a very rudimentary state, at the lower level of spiritual evolution. What about us? How are we supposed to practice this principle? There is a British philosopher, his name is Ashley Montego. He says, the key is to start acting as though we are the persons that we want to be. Even though we are not there, even though we may not feel kind all the time, try to be aware and be kind anyway, even if we are angry, for example. Because he says we become what we practice. Practice through deed, practice through mind, and practice through word. Okay. So how do we start? Where do we start with this? All charity, they say, starts with at home. Okay. First, we need to start with ourselves, because if the base of the tree is healthy, then it can grow big and can give shade to others and give fruit and all that. So if the base is not right, then it won't be able to do all those things. So important thing is we need to be in good shape so that we can express all these. So we need to take care of ourselves. And how does Krishna say we need to take care of ourselves? He says take care of your body, take care of your mind, take care of the word you speak, because the word one speaks not only affects the person but affects others, the society. When it comes to body, Krishna says, it's in the 5th chapter, it's a Navadvare Pure Dehi. This is like a 9-gated mansion in which the soul resides. Okay? It's a holy thing, it's a temple. Take care of it. And in the 17th chapter, he says, don't torture it. Don't be overly disciplinarian and, too much of extreme tapa is not good. Don't torture your body. That's demonic, not divine. And not only that, he says in the 6th chapter, Yuktahara viharasya yukta cheshtasya karmasu yukta swapnama bodhasya yogo bhavati dukkaha. He says, take care of your body, be moderate in eating, in the recreation, in any activity, at your work, in your sleep, wakefulness, everything, be moderate. Take care of the body, have a good body. Why do we need a good body? Without a good, healthy body, we won't be able to practice this yoga. And without yoga, we would not be able to put an end to the suffering we go through. So it's all connected. After the body, Krishna also talks about the mind. Take care of your mind. How do you take care of your mind? In the sixth chapter also, he gives excellent instructions. Uddharedatmanatmanam atmanu avsadayet atmaiva atmano bandhuhu atmaiva vipuratmanaha. He says, use your mind to pull yourselves up, not to pull yourselves down. It's a great instrument. Make it your friend, not your foe. How do we make our mind our enemy? By either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. Okay? He says, no, be in the present, make it your friend, and enjoy the peace you have. And how do we do that? Again, he says, Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmanajitaha anatmanastu shatrutve vatte tatmaiva shatruvat. When you have control over your mind, you can make it your friend. When you don't have control over your mind, it can become your enemy. Most of the time we train in so many areas, but typically we are not really taught about how to work with our brain. We let it go any which way it goes. Krishna says, no, you have to get it under your control. Vashi, you have to be under, the mind has to be under your control. And it's not an easy thing to do. So what does he say? Shanai Shanai Uparame. Slowly, gradually, little by little, train yourself. Watch what you're thinking. Watch what you're, feeling in your head. See if you can change the channel. Okay. The scriptures also emphasize this. In the scriptures it says, Manayeva Manushyanam Karanam Bandha Mokshayoho. It's the mind that is why we have, it's the reason why we are either in bondage or in liberation. Mind helps us to either enjoy or suffer. Nobody or nothing can disturb us unless we let them. I want you to listen to this one more time. Nothing or nobody can disturb us unless we let them. Okay. So we need to learn how to deal with this mind. We need to, first of all, think about good thoughts, talk to ourselves lovingly to begin with. We put ourselves down quite a few times also. If we make a mistake, we can let it go and then, say, okay, we'll try to do better. If we are kind to ourselves first, we can be kind to others easily. See? So Krishna says, be kind to yourself. Take some time for yourself and be grateful. When you are grateful, it's easier to be at peace inside. Take some time, meditate, reflect, see what's going on within yourself. He also talks about the words we speak. In the 17th chapter, he says, Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chaya. When you're talking, be truthful. You don't have to not tell the truth, but tell the truth only if it is, first of all, pleasant and if it is helpful, not to hurt people. Watch what you're doing with your word. And for us to be pleasant and helpful, first of all, we need to be at peace, right? If we are pleasant inside, it's easy to be pleasant with others. So try to be pleasant inside and then be pleasant with your words. Watch what your words are doing to the others. And say it in a kind way, in a helpful way. A kind word with a smile takes us a long way. It changes the dynamics of the equation on either side. And Krishna says you have to be kind no matter what the other person or the situation is doing. Because you're trying to save yourself first. You see, that doesn't mean you would let everybody walk all over you. You can be firm, but still be kind. And watch what's happening inside. Are you being upset or are you still being at peace no matter what you are doing and trying to be? So no matter what, Krishna recommends to be compassionate and kind to everybody in every situation all the time you can. Keep trying and practice it. Martin Luther King says that, or said that darkness cannot drive away darkness. Only light can drive away darkness. So if somebody is unkind and we are unkind, it only escalates the situation. It's not going to calm the situation down, makes both parties upset more and more. So we need to practice being kind, which means that we need to learn how to forgive ourselves first and forgive others also. And many times we have difficulty letting go of things, especially if we feel during the conversation the other person is wrong and we are right. We suffer a lot to be able to express at any cost that we are right. And the best thing would be to think about the situation and say, is it more important to be kind or is it more important to be right? Because if we are kind, we can always be right. You see, and right doesn't have to be external. The inside is what Krishna is talking about. And kindness doesn't have to be in big ways. It could be simple things like letting the other person speak, letting the other person take the parking spot, letting the other person go in the line. Very, very simple things. And listening. Listening is a very great virtue. Be able to let people talk and not interrupt them listening. So simple things. Mother Teresa says not all of us can do great things, but most of us can do small, simple things with great care. That makes a lot of difference to people. So the goal should be to be able to bring joy to others whenever we can. At the same time, we need to remember that we cannot please everybody. That is important to remember so we don't lose peace over it. The point is to try. We are doing our part. That is the most important thing that Krishna talks about. Deepak Chopra kind of puts these in a few words. He says, remember to appreciate people, be attentive to people, listen to them, let them give them a chance to talk, be affectionate and acknowledge. People want to be validated, they want to be acknowledged. So give them as much you can. Most of the time, we forget to love people and use things. We go the other way. We use people and love things. And Gita says you should be going the other way. Love people and use things. And one of the other things that Krishna also talks about is don't be judgmental. Okay? And give people hard time. People, if you observe, are experts in creating their own misery. We don't need to add to that, right? People are so busy causing themselves so much man-made misery. So we need to lighten the burden, not add to their misery. They can do it for themselves. So let us not be doing that. In order for us to be less judgmental, one of the things that we need to work on is ego, humility. Ego, I want to be right all the time. Humility. Humility is this urge, this need that we want to be respected, we want to be recognized. When we let go of that, Dalai Lama says it liberates us. When we live in that ego mode, it imprisons us. When we are not looking for that constant recognition, not expecting others to do things for us, not being judgmental, we can experience this joy we have within us. And why are all these things important? Why is Krishna telling us to develop these skills. He's not talking about these as a character. He's saying practice them. You can practice being compassionate. You can practice being kind. He's telling us practice these as if these are skills. Why? Because we would be the benefactors. When we practice these skills, we would be the ones who would reap the reward, who would be happier, who would be more at peace. That is why Krishna is talking about this. That is why yoga is important in avoiding suffering, more and more suffering. I would like to close with a saying which says, we are happier when we give people a bit of our heart rather than a piece of our mind. That's my presentation.